What's up, guys? This is Tai Zen again, and with me is my buddy Leon Fu from leonfu.com. Right? So, and in this video, we want to talk about the wealth aspect and about the things that you can do to increase your wealth and give yourself more freedom. And Leon and I want to talk about being average versus being the best in your field, okay? When it comes to making money. You want to start off, you talked about how it's better to be average in a field that has high demand for your skill, sure, versus being the best in your industry
that has no
demand.
That has no demand.
All right.
Definitely.
You know, talk about
so,
that.
So yeah, a lot of times that people say, "Hey, I'm not good at this, right? And I don't want to do this, and because I suck at it." Right? I mean, that's very common. Like, let's just I hear it all the time in programming, right? Yeah. It's like,
they're programmers like you, but they actually suck at it. You're actually one of the world's best, but there's guys that you work with that you say that they suck at it.
Well, most programmers suck.
Okay.
Okay, let's just be honest, right? I interview programmers all the time, right?
Yeah.
But the fact.
But what's funny is that they suck, and you know they have to pay them a six-figure income even when they suck.
That's right. That's right. Even if they suck, a lot of times a lot of times we don't want to hire them. I've been in situations where we don't want to hire them and we still do anyway.
Because there's not enough.
Because the work has to get done, right?
Yeah.
And doing a half-assed job is sometimes
it's still better than
no one doing
it.
No one doing it, right? At all, right?
Yeah.
Because so a lot of times that if you're in a field, and this is a very common example, like I hear all the time. I hear that, I don't want to learn coding because I suck at it, right? And I'm like, great. You probably do, right? I'm not going to argue with that. You probably do, but even if you came to do it, doing a sucky job at it is probably better. You'll do better than whatever you're doing right now. Yeah,
you'll get paid more than what you're doing and that you're good at.
That you're good at, right? Yeah. So a lot of times it's you have to balance. Like, people are saying, do what this goes back to our last video, doing what you love, but you have to balance that with also, what society is demanding, right? And sometimes society wants you to do that, and yes, you might suck at it, but it needs to be done. Yeah. Right? And that's where the opportunities are, right? The first video we did this evening, we were talking about, like, how do you spot the opportunities? Mm-hmm. How do you find out what to learn and what to do? And it's about solving people's problems, right?
Yeah, and you said that one of the ways that you can determine what's a good opportunity or what's a good industry or sector to be in is when you can look at the people who are getting paid and they suck at what they do and they still get paid a high income.
That's right. If the people that suck are doing well, that means that's the place to be. Yeah. Right? Because that means everybody's winning. Yeah. Right? Everybody's a winner, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're a mobile engineer, even if you suck at it.
Yeah, and for the guys that are watching, you don't know what a mobile engineer is. It's the people that program all these smartphones.
Smartphones, right? Okay. If you do apps, you'll most likely, I'm not saying in all cases, most likely you'll do better financially, even if you do it, even if you were
the worst engineer.
Even if you were the worst engineer, you'll probably do. Pretty well.
So just so that the people around the world that are listening to this have an idea, right? What is the lowest income that you've seen, the lowest salary for a crappy, shitty, sucky engineer, software programmer?
Okay, so I would say I'll use the average. Okay, because I'm going to use the average because the average programmer sucks. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I interview about. I mean, here at Dell, whenever we need to hire, we interview maybe 10, 20, 30, even like the last time we had to hire somebody, we had to interview 30 people before we hired one person. Yeah. Right? So if you and remember, those 29 people that we didn't hire, they didn't disappear.
They got hired by somebody else.
They got hired by somebody else, right?
You're like, okay, which one of these crappy engineers do I want?
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of times it's like that, right? And remember, those other 29 that we didn't hire, they got jobs too. They're working somewhere else. Okay. Okay.
And getting paid well.
So I'm going to use the average. Okay. Because the average, really, I mean that's just the reality of it. The average software engineer can't code. Okay, and I can have links to the blog. You can Google it. You can see that this is true. But that's about, okay, I'll throw out a number. That's about 95,000 a year in Austin.
So the worst.
They're not the worst.
No, the average engineer that is not very good.
Who's pretty bad. The average engineer is like this. It's like, basically, if you interview the average, like 96,000, this is what you get. Okay, you ask them and you ask them a bunch of questions, and you'll get the answer is like, well, you know,
what questions would you ask him?
Well, it doesn't matter what I ask him. I could ask them whatever thing about iOS or whatever I'm interviewing for, right? Yeah. The answer, the typical response would be like, well, you know, I don't quite know how to do that, but I'm really smart and I can figure it out. Okay, that's what you get for about $90,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that find a field. It's better to be average skill in a high demand industry, than to be a highly skilled person in a very low demand industry.
Yeah, I mean, the typical thing is like musicians, or not that, you know, there's some musicians that do really well, but you know, like I go see musicians that are playing on the street, and they, I mean, I'm not a musician. I can't tell.
They sound good to,
they sound good to me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, they have to be on, you know. So I mean, I've seen.
You laughed about me being a personal trainer. You want to share that? About
well, you tell me. I mean, yeah, I think you can tell the story better.
Okay, so Leon was laughing at me because he was like, "Hey, Ty, you're one of the best, you know, athletic trainers. You know, you specialize in helping athletes increase their power and speed. You're the lead personal trainer at the biggest Gold's Gym in Texas, and it's like the third biggest Gold's Gym in the world, and you get paid peanuts for that, right? and I agree with Leon. You know, even in when I was a personal trainer, I was the best in my field and at the top of my game. And I was making what, barely $50,000 a year, barely. I mean, I literally had to work like 11-hour days just to make close to $50,000 a year. And then when I switched fields and went into sales and went into trading currencies, right? Those are completely different professions, because even if you were an average good sales guy, right? Average sales guy in a profession where it's a high demand, you can still earn a very good living.
That's right.
And if and you know, the guys on the high end, they make, you know, multi six-figure incomes.
Yes.
You know, but even the guys that are just average, right? I'm you know, a little bit more than above average, but even the guys that are average, they still make a six-figure income.
That's right.
You know, and you were talking about the guys, the programmers that's on the high end, where they're making $300,000-400,000 a year.
Oh yeah, this is like Silicon Valley, right? If you're one of the top engineers at, like, you know, Google, Facebook, Apple, you know, any one of them, then it's not even. I mean, in that case, it's about equity, right? I told you about if you sign on for like, if you signed up with Facebook back in 2008, or you know, if you were one of the Uber engineers, you know, any one of these hot startups, then. You know, I mean, look, something like Instagram, right, was built by four engineers, right? An Android guy, an iOS guy, a server guy, and a web guy, right? Basically, that's who built Instagram. You know, it was bought by Facebook for $1 billion in a year and a half, right? And it's not even a particularly difficult app to write. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
Create what people need.
Create what people need. You know, fulfill what society needs, and you'll get rewarded. You know, I mean,
build what, you know, develop get into an industry or a sector where people are willing to pay, where consumers are willing to pay you, where businesses are willing to pay you, and that's the one that's going to give you the best chance of financial success.
Yes.
You know, so hopefully this short video here help you guys make a better choice of what fields or what industries or what sectors to go into. And thanks for joining us in this video. And if you guys want to support us, you know, check us out on the donations page, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in a future video.